Good afternoon, Muttonistas. I'm back in Madrid again. Now, behind me is one of the oldest and most famous barber shops in Madrid, Cucheros de Quince. It's been around since 1900, and not only is it a traditional place, it's a very good place, and it's always my first port of call when my face or hair is in a mess, and my face is in a pretty bad state at the moment. Although this video is not about haircuts, it's all about mutton going raw. So let's go in, get my face sorted out, and then try some of the raw delicacies that you can enjoy in Madrid. This is the most wonderful place. I don't think I've been anywhere better for a hot towel shave. I'm looking forward to this one because not only does it clean your face up, you feel better afterwards. I don't know, I'm not going to film myself getting cropped and shaved, but I'll show you the difference when I leave, and then we'll get on with the food, which of course is, I'm sure, what you're all here for. Onwards now to the meat and drink of the video, the raw food. So that shop is actually in the heart of Madrid, and in a few seconds you'll see exactly why that is so. So up the apples and pears we go, through quite a grand archway. In front of us we have basically what is the smack bang middle of Madrid, the Plaza Mayor, or Plaza Mayor rather. Most Spanish cities are designed this way so that there's a huge main square in the middle of the city, and everything kind of grows around it. And you might have noticed that there are lots and lots of bars and cafes here. It's a nice place to go for a drink, and to be honest, it's quite a nice place to eat as well, but it's not the best. You pay more because of the location. Whilst the food isn't terrible, it's not top notch, and you can get a lot of that in Madrid. So let's go somewhere that is a bit more top notch. And of course it goes without saying, this is my favourite shop in the square. As somebody who's keen on hats, I love the selection they've got here. Probably pay a bit more for it, but not much. Probably the only thing they don't sell here are pork pie hats. Probably I look a bit out of place wearing one in Madrid in the height of summer, but there we go. Before we go to our first restaurant, bar or hostelry, I'm going to show you something that's quite iconic in the centre of Madrid, called the Mercado de San Miguel. It was opened in 1915 and it was a wholesale market, but now it's turned into a gastronomic market. It is very touristy, I will give you that, and the prices are a little bit on the high side. Not everything though, but the quality is generally good. There are some things which aren't as good as they should be, but most things are of good quality here, and it is a real fun day out. A fun way of having lunch, dinner, snacks, tapas, you name it. So let's go in and see what's cooking today. So you can get so many different things here. Olives with seafood, olives with peppers and sun-dried tomatoes and anchovies. That's something I like. And mussels. Wow, how many cheeses do they have here? Seafood is big in Spain, and Madrid is no exception. I mean, sometimes they call Madrid the biggest port in Spain because it's so popular here. And here we have something really typical, squid sandwiches, bocadillo de calamares. Somehow or other that's become a Madrid speciality, which is odd for an inland city. Patatas bravas, you can get those anywhere. Mussels, prawns. Oh wow, look at those. I'm afraid I can't walk past these without giving them a try. Mozzarella stems, wow. Tacos, or no, I think those are Venezuelan arepas maybe. I mean, I could do a whole video about this place. I've given you a flavour for it, but I think what I'm going to do is do a separate video if I have time about this place. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. but let's have some raw stuff. Let's wet our whistle, shall we, Mutton? Oh, go on then, let's do it. So, just to get the juices going, folks, I'm at the Ostras and Mariscos and Pulperia Morris. I don't know if Jeff Morris watches these videos, but if he does. And it's a Galician stand, and I'm going to have something raw, because this video is about raw stuff. I'm going to have raw clams. We'd better get a little something to wet my whistle to go with it, and nothing better to accompany raw seafood than carver. So, here we have raw clams. Big chunk of lemon. Let's squeeze away. Now, I know for a fact some of you are a bit nervy about trying raw fish, raw seafood, raw meat, but don't be. Just think of it this way. If people have been eating it for years and it's served in clean, safe countries, they're not going to serve you something that's going to make you sick. Okay, you could get stale seafood that's going to make you sick, but you could get stale rice that would do that for you as well. Let's send one down the hatch. Oh, that's really good, that is. Same consistency as mussels, but it has that sort of salty, seafoody flavour that you get from having raw oysters, but less of a bite and a slightly different consistency to oysters. My goodness, it does help the carver slip down nice. A little close-up as always. The lemon just helps bring out those flavours, adds a bit of sharpness. I particularly like raw things. If you want to dive in and try these things for the first time, Spain and Madrid is really a very, very good place to do it because the quality is always top notch. Anyway, I've started, so I'll finish, and I'll see you when I finish my plate of raw clams. Okay, folks, next stop on the Mutton Raw Foods tour is a place called the Restaurante Pólvora. Sorry if I've got that wrong. This is in the barrio or district of Salamanca. The dish I'm going to have here might be a little bit hardcore for some of you, but I love it, and maybe some of the braver of you will give it a try. You don't have to be that brave, really. As I said before, these things are safe. They would not serve them if they're not. Now, my Spanish isn't that good. I had to look up the meaning of this place. But anyway, they have a nice terrace, so I'm going to see if I can get something. And of course, at the best of times, Spain is full of lovely terraces. And, well, folks, does that give you any clue as to what might be coming here? Maybe, maybe not. I have to say, they don't mess about with the measures. Yet again in Spain, you get value for money with a glass of wine. And I've gone for a Ribera del Duero, which is usually a better bet than Rioja. Smooth, full and oaky. Let's hope it matches what I've ordered well. So, the dish has arrived, and I bet you're all thinking, he's ordered a steak tartare, that must be his raw dish. Well, that's sort of right, but not quite right. Because what we have here, Muttonistas, is tartare de solomillo Iberico, which is a pork tartare from an Iberico pig. Yep, I guess that's pretty hardcore. So, without further ado, let's dig in. Little close-up for you. I mean, that looks absolutely gorgeous. What flavour? For me, I think this is better than any steak tartare you can get. Others may disagree, but this is one of my favourite Spanish dishes without question. That, folks, definitely deserves a quick slurp. The waiter recommended the Ribera del Duero over the Rioja, and I think he was right. For me, this is honestly heaven on a plate. Wowzers, wowzers, wowzers. And they have actually crisped up the capers, which is a very interesting thing to do. I've not seen that before, but it's a nice touch, actually. Very lightly dressed, not particularly mustardy or vinegary, but delicious nonetheless. Wow. And if you do come here, a quiet time to come, and I've come here between 5 and 8, which is sort of that in-between meal service, so it's very nice if you've missed lunch or something like that, which I sort of have done today, to be able to pop in somewhere and get something interesting to eat. Lovely terrace, good selection of drinks, and I suspect one could just come here for a drink if you fancied. Not quite sure what the crisp is. I think it's a Parmesan crisp. It is lightly cheesy. And also, let me explain something. Now, a lot of you are brought up, and I was as well, pork always must be thoroughly cooked, and the only meat that you can have less than well done is beef. And that, my friends, these days, well, I'd like to use a word beginning with B, but I'll just say it's absolute rubbish. The problem with pork is that for years and years, and it still happens in a lot of countries, pigs were fed on sheep remains. Now, the tapeworm that pigs can pass to humans comes from sheep, not from pigs. So if you feed pigs properly, as they do in Spain and most clean countries, you feed them vegetation, acorns and dried fruit. Bellota is the word for acorn in Spanish, and that's where you get the phrase jamón Iberico bellota, the really top-class Spanish ham. Obviously that's cured, but it's the same pig eating the same thing. I'd recommend you all try it anyway. Come on, you only live once. Anyway, I'm enjoying this a bit too much, so I'll crack on with this and see you when I've finished. Wow, that was wonderful. I strongly recommend it if you're adventurous or you just want to come out of your shell. Come here to this place, try that dish. You can come here when it's quiet. If you don't like it, you don't like it, but try. Anyway, on to the next one, and I'll finish my wine glass and we'll get going. Boy, stay with me on this video because we're really knocking it out of the park today. Okay, Muttonistas, onwards and upwards. We are at the next place. We are now at a restaurant called Ingredientes, which is located in between the barrio of Salamanca and the university. The exact name of the district we're in is Rio Rosas, and this is another hardcore raw dish. Nothing normal on my channel, I'm afraid, but let's go in and see how it tastes, because this is one I've only had once ever in my life before. Joining me again today is Fito, who I'm subjecting to my wacky food experiments, but I think he enjoys them anyway. Okay folks, on with the first dish, and this is the hardcore one. It is duck tartare. You've probably never had this in your life. So here you are folks, a big close-up, and wow, that is so rich and meaty, goodness grief. Need a quick slurp after that. We're drinking a slightly lighter wine from the Madrid area tonight, and it goes really well with that. It's good, very good. And the little peppers, piparas, they're not that spicy, but they do have a slightly vinegary tang, but it goes well with the duck. And it has obviously a taste of game or fowl, which you'd expect for duck, but it's a beautiful creation. Again, all these tartares, they taste very slightly different, but in their own way, they're all beautiful. And of course, I've got allergies to nothing other than celery and bad wine, and thankfully this is good wine. Anyway, that was a fantastic dish. We've got another one to come here. Let's look forward to that one. Again, it's not a normal one. Would it ever be normal with me, Muttonistas? No. So whilst we're waiting for the other raw dish, I'll just take you through the other dishes we're having briefly. This is a sea bass with noodles with coconut and coriander. Another very much an Asian-Spanish fusion. So folks, the next raw dish has arrived, and wow, this excites me because it's got three things I like. It's got the fusion, it's got a raw element, which is prawns, raw prawns, and it's got gazpacho, the cold tomato soup, which people who know me would know I really adore. And it is served with prawn crackers, very much a fusion element of this dish. Okay, I can't wait any longer, let's pile in. Let's taste the gazpacho first before we move on to the prawns. Pretty respectable gazpacho, but just tasting that on its own, you wouldn't realise you're about to step into a world of fusion. So let's try the prawns. Okay, let's try them out. Wow, raw and spicy. I'm in heaven, folks. I am in heaven. If you just taste the gazpacho on its own, you would never ever think that. But wow. Now, some time ago, we went with Fito to a Michelin-starred Mexican, and he was struggling a bit with one of the spicier dishes there. But this is really spicy. This is even for me. Okay, I can't film a man in distress reaching for his water, but wow, look at that. It is beautiful. Raw prawns, chili, cold tomato soup, mixture of Mediterranean and Asian flavours. Wow, I'm coming back here. 150%. And there's plenty of citrus as well in this dish, some lime. As luck has it, I do happen to have a little bit of white wine on hand to accompany this dish. You wouldn't expect mutton or the prime mutton to be unprepared in such situations now, would you? Cheers. Every mouthful of this dish is an adventure. It's indescribably good. Beautifully balanced, in my opinion, between spice, the tomato, the citrus, the herbs. But for those of you who don't like their food too spicy, you might struggle with this one. I don't think it's that spicy, but it's a bit spicy for me, and I have a high level of tolerance. Anyway, next up we have their own version of a hot dog, which looks very interesting. It's got some pineapple, some tropical fruit. Well, we'll just have to try it and see, I think. Glass is loaded, so we're not short in that area. Okay, let's cut it open and see what it's like. Oh wow, it's like a little brioche. Wow. I'm interested to see what flavours are in here. I wasn't going to cover the non-raw dishes, but this is fascinating. Well, call me a heathen, but if it's a hot dog, I am going to pick it up with my hand. Okay, let's give it a go. Taste of the hot dog and the brioche is fascinating. The pineapple for me sweetens it just a bit too much, but otherwise fine. Okay, I'm being a little less uncouth for my second bite and picking it up with a fork. There's a hint of cinnamon in this as well, but for me, passion fruit would work better than pineapple. But you know, hey, who am I to tell people who are cooking so well, and they are cooking well, what's best in their dishes? We've also ordered lentils with green curry. Again, these aren't supposed to be part of the vlog, but the food really is so good here that we had to include it. And by the way, folks, we've gone unusually for a Madrid region wine called Chulo. And I have to say, apart from not quite understanding what Chulo means, it is actually very suitable for this sort of cuisine. And they sell it by the glass if you come here as well. It's light and fruity. Well, not especially light, but lighter than a Ribera or a Rioja. Well worth considering if you decide to come here, folks. And it most certainly is good enough for mutton. Okay, Muttonistas, I have to give you the SP on this dish because it looks spectacular. Now, I don't know what this is in here, whether it's foie, fish, chicken, or what I didn't quite see from the menu what it was.
Possible that is setas.
I think it's chicken. Wow, that is like a fusion dal. It is properly spicy. It is a dal makhani, but very, very cuminish and with some Thai curry flavours melded in as well. Very, very original, very, very tasty. And that, my friends, means some liquid refreshment is required. Very good, but a little bit spicy for some of us, I believe. Perfect for me, which probably means it's too spicy.
I'm not
Well, a bit of water always helps. Spanish people and I, myself, do like food salty. For example, I like salt on my tomatoes and salad as part of the dressing. But if you have a problem with salt, be aware this dish is a bit salty. And as you can see, this restaurant has a big open kitchen. Beverages on the top shelf, lest I need to take confession at the end of this meal, and good coffee machine, and wow. It's got everything. Okay, Muttonitas, the last dish has arrived, and it is a bit of a bonus dish because we ordered it at the end. And what a corker it looks like it is to me. We have finely chopped pork chop with gherkins, pickled onions, and kimchi mayonnaise. Can't wait to try it. But before anything else, a serious problem. My wine glass is empty, but thankfully Fito is on hand to sort the problem out. Okay, folks, a little closer. That lovely pork chop with all the pickles and the mayonnaise. Wowzers, the pork chop is so tender. There's some red cabbage in here as well, which isn't as vinegary as the red cabbage you'd get in the UK, or Turkey for that matter. Has the same texture as caramelised onions, but wow, that pork chop is so good. And the kimchi mayonnaise adds that bit of spice, which you know I like. Okay, Fito's struggling with this one again. I love it. It has got a citrusy start and a rather spicy finish and kick at the end of it. And even though it is a pork chop, it has that sort of soft, tender consistency, as if it's more like slow cooked pork, like pulled pork. Add that to the spice, and you've got a perfect marriage, really. Anyway, that's the last dish here, so I'm going to finish my meal and I'll be back with you soon. Okay, that's an obscenely large spoonful I've just taken, but there we are. Oh yeah, dark chocolate, bit of chilli, made as a panna cotta. Never seen that before, but it is a cracking idea. This is totally sinful. I shouldn't be having it, but hey ho, I'm going to have a bit more of it because it's too good to miss. And of course, as we all know, dark chocolate goes very well with red wine. As luck has it, I've still got some left. And I have to say, folks, this meal has been so good and so sinful that I might have to try and take confession with the Cardinal after this, if you know what that means. Anyway, before we go, as usual, a quick coffee report, a light roasted coffee, a Super Cafe, don't know that one. Apparently the same as in the Bridge Club, and it's pretty decent. Okay, I've had better and I've had worse, but it's pretty good. So I've been an absolute disgrace tonight. That meal was totally sinful against all dietary rules. So, as always, we'd better take confession with the Cardinal Mendoza, the usual modest Spanish measure. Forgive me, Cardinal, for I have most definitely sinned. Okay, folks, I'm going to wrap the video up here. I mean, that was a great meal at El Ingrediente. I mean, so cheap as well, €9 for a half portion. And it's great that they serve it in half portions because you can try so many things. So that was Mutton Goes Raw. We had a shave as well. What a great day. Please remember, like, share and subscribe. And don't forget, you can't beat a bit of mutton.